Hello and welcome to your favourite security channel in the entire world, Simon Security Expert. And on today's video, we're going to be talking about how you can design your own home CCTV setup like a pro. And at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you something that is the biggest mistake I see so many people do with their CCTV, and it basically renders their entire system useless. So stick around to the end and I'll show you exactly what that is. Okay, so in here on this board, we have a diagram of a house. Now obviously yours might not be exactly like it, but all the steps are still the same, and you can still take the information from this and apply it to your own house. So first of all, when we're talking about a recorder, we're talking about a CCTV system that is getting wired in. I will go through wireless stuff as well for you, but when we have a wired in system, we have a recording unit that's going to have cables going into the back of it. So first of all, you need to think about a spot that's going to be best for your recording unit. If you look up here, we have the first floor office and there's a cupboard in the first floor office. This is a great spot for the recording unit to go into this cupboard here, because it's easy access popping up into the loft and onto the rear and this side passageway, as I'll explain shortly. So let's say, okay, we've decided our first floor office will be our spot for our recording unit that will go into this cupboard here. One thing you've got to bear in mind is getting mains power into the cupboard. Now, it may already have mains power if there was maybe something there in the past, such as old boiler units. If it doesn't have, you can get an electrician to pop a plug in for you. If you're competent, you can put a plug into the cupboard yourself, or if there's a plug nearby, you can just plug an extension lead into it. You know, if it's not too messy or anything, you can plug an extension lead and get that into your cupboard area here. This is gonna provide power for your recording unit and for your monitor. So we've decided this is going to be the spot where we're going to put our recording unit. Now we need to decide how many cameras we need, because you need to get the most out of every camera. We obviously want to see the whole house, but we don't want to have 30 cameras around everywhere looking each different direction. What we want is we want them to overlap each other and get the most out of each individual camera. So up here, you see we've got the rear garden, rear door is here, we have a garage here, a side gate coming through this way, this is a fence line here, and this is next door. So first of all, if you're only going to have one camera on your system, you decided all I want is one camera, I will always advise protecting the front door area with the front drive, because this is where you might have cars parked. Your most valuable items a lot of the time is the vehicles, so you can have a camera that's overlooking this area. So what I'd advise here is you'd have a camera here and it'd look across. And it also protects your front door with some CCTV, because even now front door is still the main access route for burglaries, so it's worth bearing that in mind. But in this example, we're going to be going around, we're going to be covering the whole house, but there is where we'd have our first camera anyway. So if you're just having the one camera, cover it the front drive, cover your vehicles, but that's where we're going to have our one camera on our multi-camera system. So we've got one coming out here, we've got the front door protected and the front drive protected now with CCTV. The cables have went up into the loft and then dropped onto the soffit area, and we're going to be doing that with most of these cameras, or some of these cameras. I'm going to show you a little trick as well, what we're going to do because we're in this area. Now, just so you know, with the cameras, usually they're going to be going up high because the cabling is going to be coming through the loft, dropping down, and then it's going to be seeing all of the say for instance the area there is going to be seeing it from up high. If you're in a position where your house is maybe getting renovated, or you're getting, say, rendering on the front of your property, you can bring the cable down. As long as it's external cable, make sure it's external Cat5 for instance, or shotgun cable. Bring the cable down, further down the wall, and so pop your cable out about 3 meters up when it's out of reach, but it's also going to be giving you a great angle for facial recognition. You know, so if you can actually get your cameras about 3 to 3.5 meters in height, then that's a great spot, because you're going to get facial recognition and they're still out of reach unless someone's going to get step ladders to them or something like that to damage them. But most of the time, that's not really going to be the option for most people, because most people aren't in a complete home renovation or getting render on the walls, but it's just something to bear in mind. What is worth noting is that if you have a wireless camera system, you can mount them about 3.5 meters up, because you're not worrying about getting a cable to them. Also, you have to remember that you're going to have to recharge these wireless cameras, so bear that in mind, right? You don't want to get them too far out of reach that you can never get to them or anything like that. You need to be able to get the battery so you can plug that in. So we've got one camera looking over here. It's been wired from this cupboard because all our cables are coming back. That's great. We've got our front door protected. We've got our front drive protected. Now, if we want to protect this side passageway down here, well, what's the easiest option for us with that? We could simply pop out from this cupboard. This means as well we'll be able to get a nice height for facial recognition and then pop a camera right there, and that's going to be protecting down this side passageway as well. And that's great. Now this is the fence line here and that's next door. If your camera is going to be looking over into a neighbour's property, you just need to get their permission, and if they refuse the permission on it, then you need to blank out their property, because you're not supposed to be recording other people's property without their permission. In my experience, usually neighbours are made up to have someone getting a CCTV system and essentially getting free footage, you know, unless they're doing something crazy, but they fall out with their neighbours. So crazy how many people don't get on with their neighbours. Anyway, 2, just there. Now we want to cover the rear garden and cover this rear door as well. We've got a flat back, it's nice and flat, so there's nothing popping out to block our view. We can do the same thing here and pop out from the cupboard, and there you go. We have our third camera. Now we've got the front drive all covered, this side passage covered, and the whole rear garden covered. We're getting the most out of each camera. Now, you may have spotted this area here, okay? We want to protect as much of this gate as we can and the garage, because often, you know, valuables are kept in the garage. You want to keep an eye on them. So here we'd pop a camera just there, and that would shoot out that way. And then with a 4-camera system, you've covered all the house almost. You know, there is still a bit of an area here of a blind spot, and this is where it's going to come into personal preference a little bit. You can obviously add as many as you like. I'm just trying to show you the way to get the most out of the least amount, essentially just to try and save you a bit of money, because cameras now are getting more and more expensive, especially if you're going for the 4K AI style cameras. But if you look here, we've covered the front, we've covered this side passageway, we've covered the rear garden, and we've covered this garage area. Now, if we just pretend, okay, that in, say, this rear garden area, there's an extension and it pops out up here. So this camera now is getting blocked, and there's a rear door area that's now not getting any view from the CCTV. This is where I'd advise adding another camera, say up into this corner. Ideally, if you can maybe bring it down, if you've got a rear door here and you want to get some facial recognition, but just to get an extra camera just there, because of this extension blocking the view of this camera, just to mean that we've now got the rear door area covered with CCTV as well. So you just got to bear in mind about what is blocking your camera view. A lot of houses are pretty straightforward and you can get everything done in, you know, 4 to 5 cameras, but you could also, if you wanted to, bring another camera, come into the garage and get a camera here looking down the gate, you know, this gateway entrance. But the reason I'm not including that here is because you've got a camera here that's covering all this area and covering the gate area here, and then when they come round into this spot, they're going to be picked up by this rear door quite soon. You can go more and more and more, so there's not even a step someone can make, but really this is a pretty solid setup where no one can go and break into your property without being seen. What we've done is we've covered the main entry points, such as the front door, the rear door. We've got this extension that we've covered with CCTV as well, and someone can't come down, you know, these corridors without being seen. They can't jump into a back garden without being seen. So this is a good coverage system for a general domestic property and will do you really well. So that's pretty much it in terms of design. Now, at the start of this video, I told you that I'm going to tell you something about CCTV systems that everyone gets wrong, or not everyone, but a lot of people get wrong. And they look at 2 quotes from, say, security companies and wonder why one is so much more expensive than the other. And what it comes down to is the hard drive, HDD. Now, a hard drive is the unit that in this situation we're putting into this cupboard. The hard drive is basically where all your memory is stored onto the, onto your system, onto your hard drive system, where everything's cabled back to. Now, if you have 2 quotes and wonder why one is particularly more expensive than the other, you need to inquire about the hard drive space. Let's say nowadays everyone's having IP cameras and they're all 4K. So they're pulling loads and loads and loads of data. It's basically like it recording a 4K movie all the time. It takes up a lot of space, okay? So you need to get a hard drive with sufficient space for your camera system. Now, a general rule of thumb I like to use is if you've got 5 cameras, okay, you need a 5 terabyte hard drive. This will give you a sufficient amount of recording, maybe a couple of weeks, because if you go on holiday for 2 weeks and 3-4 days into your holiday, someone breaks in and you don't know until you've got back, you might have lost that recording because you haven't got enough storage in your hard drive. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who will just try and, they know people don't really know this, and they'll quote your CCTV system and they'll install a 1 terabyte hard drive for a 5 camera IP system, which means it hasn't cost them as much for the equipment. They're able to then, try and get the job by basically making their quote a little bit less, but you end up with a system that's got 2 days recording on it and it's completely useless. And they might try and say, okay, well, what I'll do then is I'll set it up so it only records when it sees motion. That's great for wireless cameras, that's pretty standard. But for a wired CCTV system, if you're going all out and want the best, you want it recording 24/7, because although the motion settings on CCTV is getting better and better and better with the AI technology, sometimes it misses. And you just know that on the time when you have a problem, that will be the time it misses. Say it sees a person 50 times, it might miss once or twice actually picking up and recording that event because it hasn't actually registered that it's seen the person. You want it recording 24/7, and then it's going to overlap itself. So say after a couple of weeks recording, it just starts to overwrite the beginning of the recording with the new recording. So you want 24/7 recording. You don't want motion recording. You want a terabyte of hard drive space per camera. IP is pretty much what I'd say go for nowadays. It does have some benefits. There are some analog systems that are still very, very good, but as things progress, the way technology is going, it's usually best to put IP in and use Cat6 cable. You can get like Cat7 now and Cat8 and stuff, but you just don't need to. Cat6 cable. If you're having anything external cable-wise, use external Cat6 cable, because otherwise the sun's going to damage the cable and it'll just basically rot away. And put your hard drive in a space you can access, cameras overlapping each other, getting a full picture of your entire property. If you can look at that, understand it, which is hopefully pretty straightforward for you, you're onto a winner, and you know just how to design your own CCTV system like an absolute professional. And just to make sure, check something where, if you're installing it yourself, when you're going into the loft and you're wiring it, clip your cables, make it nice and neat. Don't have it so you're tripping over it anytime you go into a loft. And if you're getting a professional company to install it for you, before you actually say yes to their work, go up into the loft. It's worth it. Go and have a look. Make sure that they haven't just lassoed their cables right across the loft, to save themselves time. Make sure they've angled them, they're taking them around nicely, they've clipped them to the wood, they're completely out of the way, they're not going to cause you any trouble in future. And if you see that and they've done it properly, well, you know that they've probably done a very good job of everything else. Hopefully this has been of help to you guys, and as always, see you in the next one.